Welcome to Build. You knew her as Will Smith's little cousin Ashley Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Today, Tatyana Ali is using her name to spread the word about women and heart disease. She's joining us right now to discuss the American Heart Association's Go Red campaign. Everybody put your hands together. Tatyana Ali, let's hear it.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
How did this start? What made you get involved in this?
Well, this is an annual event that the American Heart Association does every year to begin Fashion Week. It's the first show of the Fashion Week season, and I've heard about it before. Luckily, heart disease hasn't affected my family or close members of my family. But I personally was surprised to know that heart disease is the #1 killer of women. You think of it as a men's disease. I know I always have, and there are reasons for that, historical reasons for that, the type of research that's been done in the past. But it's actually a very important issue for women, and I think there's so much female empowerment happening, self-love, self-determination, that I think this is a really important message. Like, we can actually save our own lives by taking care of ourselves.
Yeah. And you're going to be at the Hammerstein Ballroom with this show later tonight, right? Are you going to walk the runway?
I am going to walk the runway.
Have you ever walked a runway before?
I have a lot of respect for what people do in their careers, and I'm not a model. So no, I haven't. I think did a show in LA 100 years ago. I was like 13, and I just remembered the runway being the longest. That was like the longest walk of my life. So I'm excited about it because of this cause. And
are you nervous about it?
I am a little nervous.
Is someone going to teach you, like, sort of do a little training session with you on how to walk?
There's a quick rehearsal, I heard, but I also heard that it's all the dresses in the fashion show are red to signify heart health, and I've heard that there's just a sea of really just supportive women and men, all in red or in red somehow, and that it's different from all of the other fashion shows of the season. It's not, they're not editors judging you. It really is about empowerment and sisterhood. So
it'll be about like selling the dresses.
Yeah, no, you're
critiquing it. It's
right. You're
doing good.
Exactly, and we're paired with designers, some who are well established, and some who are up and coming. My designer, she did my dress, Tanisha Purdy. She has a line called Giddy, and she's with the Macy's Incubator Group. So she's an up-and-coming designer, and so that's a really fun part of it, too. We got to collaborate on it.
Oh, that's so cool. So you got to work with her on the dress, or she pitched you some ideas, and you had some thoughts about it?
Yeah, it was awesome. I've never done that before either.
Yeah, what is that like? What is it like doing that?
It's really exciting when you think about it. I mean, it's not a dress that I'm gonna have to get in and out of a car into. It's, you can kind of, like, your imagination can go all over the place. You're gonna walk down this beautiful runway for this great cause on the stage, and so we did like kind of something dramatic in the back, and
nothing about it has to be practical.
No,
you just have to walk 10 steps in it.
A little more than 10, but yes, you have to walk in it and have a great time and really, show off this young designer's vision. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How old were you when you started acting?
I was 4.
4 years old.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got the part on Fresh Prince?
I started Fresh Prince when I was 11. Yeah, so I started. I'm from Long Island, from North Belmore, and I started my career here in New York I did Sesame Street, I did a lot of commercials, I did Broadway and off-Broadway, and Fresh Prince was one of many things I auditioned for. And I remember auditioning for Quincy Jones, actually, the last audition in New York. I didn't know who he was. My mom was really excited. And it totally changed my life and my family's life.
Did you see the big Quincy Jones interview yesterday that he did?
Yes, I actually just did this morning, and as I was saying it, I was like, oh, why did I do that?
Oh, just saying. I mean, there's no questions to ask you about. He doesn't say anything about you in it, fortunately. So there's nothing that we can.
No.
But it's a wonderful interview for anybody who wants some entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
That's so strange, I think, especially when someone lands a TV show like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at a young age or at any age, because it's just one of many auditions that you're going on, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it changes your life forever. It's a job for 6 years, it's in everybody's homes when 20 million people would watch a TV show, and you're remembered for that forever.
Forever.
Was there ever a time where you wanted to sort of run away from being remembered for it, or have you always been like very excited to have that?
I remember actually coming back to New York. I used to come back to New York to go to school. I would do studio school and then come back here and go to public school, my regular junior high. And I remember being in the city and like a bus of kids got off and they all recognized me from the show. And that's when it was like, oh, I'm not anonymous anymore. Like that just becomes a part of your life. And even though the show, it's like 20-something years later, even in different parts of the world, it's just such a part of people's lives. It's honestly, it's just a part of my life. And the one thing, though, is that Fresh Prince fans are, the show is really loved. Yeah. You know, it's not a fake thing or a fad thing. We really touched people's lives. And so I get true hugs from people. And when people say, oh my God, I love the show, like I can see it in their eyes that it really did mean something to them. So it's never been like burdensome.
I mean, people are
They're
still
real interactions.
parodying the opening.
I know, they just did on SNL.
Yeah, they just did it on SNL. It's like, so it's still very much, I mean, it's just part of the cultural, you know, it's legendary at this point.
Yeah. I don't think we knew that was going to happen while we were doing it. We knew we had chemistry. I mean, we knew it was special for us, but for something to last 20-something years after you stop making it is just bizarre, actually.
What was Will Smith like at that time?
He was a lot like he is now.
Yeah, the most charismatic person possible.
He's so charismatic, and he walks around like you can almost see the cape behind him. He's like, seriously, he has this kind of larger than life charisma and personality, and he's funny and he's kind. He takes time for everybody. He makes everybody feel special. And he has this like joie for life, and you can feel it. And he was like that then. So
I imagine that must have been pretty important to be around as a young actor on a show like that, because oftentimes as a young actor you can get cast on a show like that where the person is nothing like their character on screen.
Right. Oh, you mean like they suck? Or
yeah, like they suck. Like off screen they're bitter or they're terrible people. Yeah.
It's I learned, work, especially amongst actors and theatrical work, it really is like a top-down situation. Whatever the attitude or motivations of the person at the top, it totally affects the vibe of the whole entire production and what's going on. And I always felt free creatively. I think we all did. I always felt protected. I remember, network wanting me to be in certain outfits because they thought I was of age, 16, 17. And going to Will and saying, I don't want to wear this. And Will making it very clear to everybody, let her wear what she wants. I was very, I had my school books because I loved school, and I had my script, and nobody stopped me from doing that. I could really...
There's no one negotiating with the tutor behind the scenes to be like, look, we really need this shot. Can you just pretend like she was learning today?
Not at all. Not at all. It was really a great place to grow up in. And I also had like bomb tutors that wouldn't have allowed that.
I mean, that's actually a rare thing. People don't know that, but like a lot of times on set, the tutors are very much on they don't want to lose their job, so they're on the side of the production a lot of the time, and it's really to the detriment of the child's ability to learn.
There's some that are there in that capacity for the production, but there are many who take their jobs as educators and social workers, because that's where they are. They have both of those functions very seriously. And my teachers, those women, Portia Adams, Kathy Cyrus, Lauren Gary, they are the reasons that I went to Harvard. They taught me to write. They were amazing teachers.
That's amazing that you remember them so well like that.
Oh yeah. They took me to museums. I had a world-class education because of them and because of the show, which is the opposite thing that you usually hear from kids in entertainment.
That's so amazing. Were your parents a part of that too, where they were kind of like on top of making sure that this happened?
Yeah, they made sure that I had great teachers on the set, and the production, supported them in that. Education, my parents are immigrants. My dad is from Trinidad. My mom's from Panama, from Central America. And they came here for a better life, and education is a part of that. And so that was really important to them. I don't think it would have mattered to them. Fresh Prince, no Fresh Prince, TV, film, whatever, like we had to go to school.
So how did they get you into acting? Like, what was that something that you just really wanted to do? How did it happen?
I kept kind of getting like, I don't know, like discovered. Like it kept coming up to my parents. We were at the mall. There was an experience like that where someone was like, she ought to be in pictures. Or, and I was also very precocious. I went to preschool early because, you know, they didn't know what to do with me. And I took to it. I loved it. I still love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was it when you went to Harvard? Were people like, and you were walking around campus? Were people like in West Philadelphia? Did they try to throw it out?
Yes, and everyone who did that thought it was really original. No,
I'm sure they did because this is like what? This is now like 99, 2000.
99, yeah. It was
so
like
this
right
is
there.
like. It hasn't been happening too long. You know?
Right. There was some of that, but it was also, you know, like the first 2 weeks of school, I remember everybody's meeting everyone. And Harvard, the undergrad community, everybody's a big fish where they came from. Right. You know, there's like the top Latin scholar, there's a guy who's like the #1 mathematician in the world. And everyone's just kind of walking around interviewing each other and getting to know each other. And they're incredibly special, unique people. And so even though
You're
I was
Ashley
being
Banks from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I know, yeah, the ice cream social, that was the first ice cream social that I had to get through
math
that.
scholar was so mad because everyone's like, oh my God, she's from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And he's like, I am the math scholar here. This is Harvard, please.
Okay, maybe. But it just after the first 2 weeks, you know, I was in the dorms, and once you get in the dorms and people see you in your like pajamas before you brush your teeth, that kind of veneer quickly.
Once you get around any kind of famous person or a person that you've only seen on the screen, as soon as you get around them for like 5 minutes, like, oh, this is a human being.
Right.
They just exist like the rest of us.
Right.
And if they don't come off that way, then it's usually a problem and you want to run away really fast.
Exactly.
Yeah. Were you acting while you were in Harvard as well? I know you were in Jawbreaker at that time.
Yeah, that was right before school. I did The Brothers. I did that film the end of my sophomore year. And I actually deferred a year because of music. And so I took time off from school for a little while to tour. And I toured with NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. And
What was that like?
it was nuts. Yeah. It was nuts. I mean, I remember on the NSYNC tour, some girls who were camping out, they'd camp out at like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, wherever. And, you know, we took tour buses overnight to get to where we had to be. And they mistook my bus, our bus, for an NSYNC bus. And we woke up to, we thought they were going to tip the bus over. And so that was just me getting a tiny, tiny taste of what the kind of crazy phenomenon situation that they experienced. It was crazy.
Were you opening for them?
I was opening for them, yeah.
So what is it like to be a female performer opening for a group, for a boy band where the entire audience is mostly just women there to see the boys?
Can you say bad words on here?
Yeah,
No.
you can, yeah.
I was in, where was it? I think it was Amsterdam. And Backstreet Boys had a concert in the round. Their stage was round and the audience was all over. So the opening act, we had to kind of come through the crowd to get to the stage. And we did. We came through with the dancers. Like we made it part of our show, whatever. And as I'm walking, this girl was like, "Fuck Tatyana! Where is Backstreet Boys?"
That's what I thought. That's kind of what I thought.
I think that's what you're getting at. And that was kind of how it was with the Backstreet Boys tour, more so. I don't know what it is about Backstreet Boys fans, and so it was kind of like a thing every night. I was like, all right, I'm going to turn you.
Right.
You're going to be I got you. I'm going to sing just to you my entire set.
Were the NSYNC boys nice to you?
They were amazing. Oh, yeah, they're lovely. Yeah.
Let's get some questions from our audience. Who has a question here? Right here.
Hi, Tatyana.
Hi.
Congratulations on your new baby.
Thank you.
I have a 16-month-old and a 4-month-old. So I wanted to find out, how do you juggle being a new mom and working?
Yeah. How do you? um, my son is 16 months. He's about to be 17 months. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. I am a little bit fortunate with my work. I used to think it was unfortunate, but a lot of my work is trying to get work. When I'm actually acting or performing, that's the part where I'm not really working. And in those cases, I know my schedule. My son can come with me. You know, I know that that's not the same. It's not the same way for a lot of my girlfriends. But I have just help. Just don't be afraid to ask people for help because it takes a village. Like my parents help us. Right now, my mother-in-law and father-in-law are with my husband helping us because I'm not home. And we just ask for help all the time, all the time. And it can't be perfect, I think, is what I'm learning.
How hard is it when you have to go away for work for a little bit and you can't take your son with you?
Oh, you're like, now? It's killing me.
yeah, that's
It's killing me. And, when my husband when he travels for stuff, they can FaceTime the two of them. And it's, my baby's like, oh, da-da, da-da. But with me, if we FaceTime, he cries. So I can't even FaceTime with him. I have to just, get videos.
Yeah, I had a friend who was in town recently and has a 11-month-old, and he was saying, I just hate I've never felt like this before. I hate being away from her so much.
Oh, my gosh. It's
And
crazy.
as someone without children, I was like, oh, I kind of get that. Yeah. Do you want to go get drunk?
And then your friend who's, away from their kid is like, actually, yeah. Let's
Anyway, I'm
do
going
it.
to forget about this. I think we have 2 more questions right here.
Hi, Tatyana.
Hello.
Congratulations on the baby and all of your success. I was a huge fan of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So thinking about your very first audition that you've ever had until now, what was your mindset growing up? I'm sure you probably had to make some probably not the most popular decisions as far as discipline and moving forward in your life and your career. What was your mindset? What was your drive from then until now?
Because you had one mindset the whole time, I'm imagining.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I was trying to think of the thing that maybe is the through. When I was a kid, I just did it because I loved it. And because my parents school was so important to them, it was almost like a treat. When I got good grades, if I wanted to go to auditions, if I wanted to perform, I had to get good grades. So hard work was always just kind of built into it. And actually now as an adult, what I strive for is to go back to the way I did it when I was a kid, because I didn't care about the outcome. And my parents, they weren't really stage parents in that sense. They didn't stress, you have to get this job. I went in there, and it was like a performance for 2 versus a performance for 100 at a small theater, or a performance for 20 million if it's a TV show. That I lived in that moment, and that moment was enough. And so now when I perform and I audition, which is a performance, and I'm like every other actor who hates auditions. I like the work, and I'm always trying to get back to that space where I was a kid, where it didn't matter. We're just being,
I think we have time for one more, right here.
Hi, Tatyana. I'm Cindy. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Wanted to know, has there been a number one inspiration that's been a true constant throughout the years in your career and in your personal life?
And like a person or
It could be a person or anything that truly inspires you. It's kind of like your go-to.
Yeah. I think everybody has a purpose, and I've tried to find mine in this life. And you get talents that fit that purpose, I think. My go-to is I want to live up to my potential. That's all I want to do. Whatever God gave me here, I want to do really awesome things with it, what I'm supposed to do. And so when it gets hard, or I feel like I'm not going in the right direction because things feels like maybe I'm not doing the right things, or I always really go back to that. That's like the core drive, I think.
Oh, there you go. Tatyana, it's wonderful talking to you. Go Red. How can people look into Go Red? I mean, if they can't make it to Hammerstein Ballroom tonight.
Well, it's actually on Facebook Live, and it's at 8 o'clock. So get the vibe, feel the love of what's going on tonight on the stage and in the audience. And there's also the American Heart Association website. There's tons of incredible information. And, you know, we all have our quotes, all the different people that are involved in it. Mine is that, you know, there's power in prevention. So especially women, all women, especially women of color, go to your doctor before it's time to go to the emergency room. Get yourself checked. I think all women, we spend a lot of time taking care of other people. If we're not taken care of, if we don't take care of ourselves, there's not gonna be enough to go around. So yeah, the American Heart Association website if you want to learn more, or Facebook Live for tonight.
Everybody, Tatyana Ali, let's hear it.